Left of the box. Well, Doug Ford has been very active and he's been very vocal. And so he's been pushing back against Donald Trump in a way that, again, I wish Justin Trudeau would. And you see, unfortunately, it has led to things like this. Like this guy here, Canada's offering to buy Alaska, Minnesota from Trump. Let's fucking go. I'm turning into a Doug Ford guy. People are now overlooking all of the horrible shit Donald Trump has done simply because he's looking strong in this moment. Like that negative approval rating, him being the worst approved premier in all of Canada, is rapidly changing because of his peacocking around this. That's it. You know, good for Ford. We need more of this. But let's hear what he has to actually say about this.
You know, under my watch for Ontario, it'd never be for that at all. We have the greatest country in the world. We have the greatest province anywhere. Any sub-sovereign nation is Ontario, and the rest of the provinces as well.
You think he's joking?
We would, you know something, to the president, I'll make him a counteroffer. How about if we buy Alaska, and we'll throw in Minnesota, Minneapolis at the same time? So, you know, it's not realistic. I know he likes making these comments, and he likes joking around. I take that seriously. He may be joking, but under my watch, that will never, ever happen. You know, under...
It's kind of like when we're so desperate for something and it's finally given to us. We don't necessarily care who it's from. Like if you have been dying of thirst for a long, long time, but then, you know, the local gang or a drug lord or something says, here's some water, you know, so long as you stay in my good graces, you're going to take it. And so here's Doug Ford filling in this vacuum of strength that we so desperately want in this country when it comes to this issue. And in return, he'll get the votes. Like, it's just the amount of social murder this man is responsible for. And he's not faced any consequences. None. For everything, all the horrific things he's done, all the things he's doing. But now because he's strong in this one moment, and it's a very public moment, people are like, no, I get it. I kind of like him now. Well, he's been doing this a lot, though. Doug Ford has been kind of like on a tour, going around to different news networks to talk about this. We won't watch all of them, but we'll just kind of get a feel for some of them. And then one of them we will watch all of. So I want Canada and America to be the richest, most prosperous, safest, and most successful countries on the planet. Canada has critical minerals, oil, and nuclear energy needed to make it happen. Let's get to work and build a fortress AmCan. And this is him on CNN.
President-elect Trump still threatened 25% tariffs on Canadian imports, chirping Governor Trudeau in his posts.
So when Trump today said, many people in Canada love being the 51st state, he put the word love in all caps. Together, what a great nation it would be. How do you even respond to that? I mean, on a certain level, it was a joke. Now here we are, and Justin Trudeau is gone, and your finance minister is gone. The entire government is sort of gone into chaos, all on the back of these things Trump has said. So when Trump says this today about the 51st state, how do you respond?
Well, I can appreciate his sense of humor, and I kind of went back about buying Alaska, but, you know, something is just not realistic. We're a sovereign country. We're proud. Canadians, just like Americans, are proud. What I want to do is make sure that we build a fortress AmCan.
So Fortress AmCan. And it's like, oh, he's just joking. He's joking. And so here we have, just later on the next day, whether it's reshoring supply chains from China to bring jobs back home, workers are sharing Ontario critical minerals for new technology. Canada and the U.S. will always be so much stronger together. I was thrilled to join BBC News to talk about building Fortress AmCan. And again, he's been going on these press tours. And the thing is that this is international relations. He shouldn't be doing this. International relations is a federal issue. The federal government should be dealing with it. Granted, they've been doing nothing. So Doug Ford shouldn't be inserting himself in this. It's not in his lane. It's not his jurisdiction, as they so often love to say when they're deflecting who's responsible for what. But this time, it really is not in his jurisdiction to be doing this sort of thing.
And we can speak live now to the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford. Mr. Ford, thank you very much for joining us tonight on...
Because you notice how none of the other premiers are going on these sorts of press junkets?
BBC News, good to have you with us.
Thank you for having me on.
Great to have you. I want to ask you, first of all, about what we heard from Prime Minister Trudeau today, saying that Canada needs a reset in its politics. Do you think this was the right decision at the right time?
Well, I feel the Prime Minister was feeling internal. We need to onshore. A day of crude oil goes down to
that Canada would need to, quote, retaliate hard if there are...
So now they're talking about the tariffs and stuff as well.
Their electricity.
Oh, he talked about electricity. Let's just go there.
By $1 a gallon. They rely on Ontario for their electricity. We keep the lights on to 1.5 million homes and businesses in the U.S. We have critical minerals that China just cut them off of their critical minerals.
So on and so forth. Well, he wasn't done. He went on Fox News yet again. This time, they actually got a video feed of him as opposed to last time. But he's on with Jesse Waters. And I don't think this interview quite went the way Doug Ford thought it was going to go. And to me, it takes a very... Well, we'll see it. So Doug Ford tweets out, "I've got a better deal for President Trump. Let's work together to build Fortress AmCan and take on the world. When Canada and the U.S. work together as two proud independent countries, we're unstoppable."
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, Canada, joins me now. All right, Premier. By the way, I loved your brother. We did an interview. Great guy.
Yeah,
What's your problem with the United States?
Yeah, I loved your dead brother. Okay, let's start the interview.
All right, Premier. By the way, I loved your brother. We did an interview. Great guy.
Yeah,
What's your problem with the United States absorbing Canada?
Well, first of all, Jesse, you know, I love the U.S. I love Americans, and I get it. You know, President-elect Trump is a real estate tycoon. He's made billions, but that property's not for sale. As simple as that. But I have a better idea, Jesse. Why don't we create Fortress AmCan and make sure it's the richest, wealthiest, most prosperous jurisdiction in the two countries anywhere in the world? We have the critical minerals, we have the energy, we have the electricity that America needs.
So here he is going on Fox News like, oh no, I'm on safe territory. Like, let's all get along. It's like, if only there was another metaphor for or example of this type of behavior where you're going into what you think is hostile territory to see where you can get along and that it's all going to work out and we're just going to be buddies and maybe, hell, maybe we'll even grab a beer after this.
And there's only one place I'd want to sell it to, and that's the U.S.
Well, you could sell it to us or we could all own it together, and that's a choice we can all make together. You say this isn't for sale, but everything has a price, the $1 million.
And then Jesse Waters just comes out and he's like totally owning this conversation. It's like, well, you say this, but I say this, and we're going to own that, and you can do this. And it's really like that schoolyard bully dictating to other kids what they can and can't get away with in order to keep in his good graces.
Our man says that. Can you think of this more as a merger instead of an acquisition? Don't think about being taken over. Think about this as a coming together.
Yeah, we can come together on a great trade deal. We're two greatest countries in the world. Do you know what the problem is? I've lived 20 years in the U.S. Matter of fact, I spent a lot of time in Philly where you did for 7 years and in Chicago. There's not one American that I speak to out there, Jesse, that has a problem with Canada. Do you know what the problem is? China's the problem. China's shipping in cheap parts into Mexico, and then Mexico.
And there goes Doug Ford with, oh, we're the good ones. We're the good ones. You know who's bad? That China and Mexico. They're the ones that we need to team up against them. But we're the good ones. Like, we're leopards too. Can't you see the spots? You can see the spots. We're leopards. Yeah. So we can work together to take on China and Mexico, our other major trading partners.
Slapping a made in Mexico sticker on, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada, costing American and Canadian jobs.
Just the smug. Oh my God. I thought, Justin Trudeau has smarmy, smuggy face, but this face, oh, so smug. So like he knows he has Doug Ford just like, licking the bottom of his shoes. How many licks till you get to the sole of the foot? Well, Doug Ford knows.
Like Mexico has to make a choice, Jesse.
I get
They're
it.
either with Beijing or Washington.
No, I get it. I get it. You say that Americans don't have a problem with Canadians, and we don't. But it seems like you have a problem with us. Because if I were a citizen of another country and I was a neighbor of the United States, I would consider it a privilege to be taken over by the United States of America. That's what everybody else in the world wants. American citizenship. For some reason, that's repellent to you Canadians. And I find that personally offensive, Premier.
Well,
Okay, am I the only one that heard that and thought it sounded super rapey? Like it makes me feel sick the way he said that. That no, you should see this as like some sort of privilege that I'm giving you. And knowing that he sabotaged a woman's car, let the air out of her tires so that she had to turn to him for a ride home. And he did that to cheat on his wife and eventually marry her. But just the way he said that, I can't be the only one to hear that and just get like this super, like rapey vibe from that. And it's going to get worse. So we'll just backtrack a little bit.
It seems like you have a problem with us. Because if I were a citizen of another country and I was a neighbor of the United States, I would consider it a privilege to be taken over by the
You should consider it a privilege that I want to fuck you right now.
United States of America. That's what everybody else in the world wants. American citizenship. For some reason, that's repellent to you Canadians. And I find that personally offensive, Premier.
And the fact that you don't want to fuck me is quite offensive.
Well, you know something, Jesse? We're proud Canadians, just like there's proud Americans. And if we join together and take on the world with a great trade deal between us, I think that'd be fabulous. No one could stop us.
Well,
And you can see in Doug's face, it's like, this conversation is not going the way I thought it was going to go. I thought that this douche canoe over here was going to be like, oh yeah, you're great. You're super great. Yeah, totally on board with this. We'll go get a beer afterwards.
that's the point, because Trump says we're paying to protect Canada a lot, but Canada's ripping America off on trade. So why don't we just redraw the map to make it fair?
So we're the largest trading partner in the world, 1.3 trillion. So the only area that we have a little upper hand is
Mexico has you beat, but you're a close second. Go ahead.
So we ship down 4.3 million barrels a day down to the U.S. Ontario is the third largest trading partner in the world with $500 billion of two-way trade split down the middle. Jesse, 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce products for Ontario alone. I love the Americans.
And then here he is like, this is why we should have consensual sex, though. Like, here are all the things that we can do together. Like, this is why it should be consensual. This whole thing is just so disgusting. And it gets worse.
I look forward to working with the new administration.
All right, so this might just have to be a hostile takeover. Let's move on. I see.
All right, well, since you don't want to sleep with me voluntarily, I might just have to hostilely take it from you.
We are going to agree to disagree. Want to go halvesies on Greenland?
No, we're good. You know, I hope Don Jr. is wearing those winter woolies, keeping warm over there.
All right, very much appreciated you joining Jesse Waters Prime Time. We'll do this again.
He actually looks like he's in a hostage video right there. Like he has this understanding of, I looked so weak and pathetic in this interview. Like he sees it. He knows.
Soon. Maybe
Jesse.
Next time we'll be brethren. We'll see how it shakes out.
You have a lot of fans in Canada, Jesse. You take care, my friend.
We love the Canadians. Thank you so much.
So keep all of that in mind. Because it's not like Jesse Waters was done talking about all of this.
Gets the best terms for us. Now, I looked into Greenland.
No, you didn't.
I did. So the pros of Greenland are a lot of minerals, great. You could project a lot of force to.
Yeah, so here he is again talking about how, oh, we should take over Greenland and Panama Canal, and then he'll get back into Canada again.
Counter Russia through there. But it's also a very poor country. And we basically do whatever we want there anyway. And it would really piss off Denmark and all of Scandinavia. And they would ruin our access to the North Sea and the Baltic. See, I did study, Greg. And then in terms of Panama, yes, I definitely think they need to reduce the transit rates because we're getting ripped off every time we sail through there. But I don't want to occupy that stupid country. It's run by cartels. That'd be a mess. Canada. At first I wanted it. And I tried to divide it into 2 states. And then I realized we'd be adding Montana, basically, for the Republicans, and electorally like a Texas for the Democrats. And I don't like that. But the fact that they don't want us to take them over makes me want to invade. I want to quench my imperialist thirst.
Oh. Again, to me, this just seems super, super rapey. The fact that they don't want it makes me want to take it from them. Like, oh. Like I think a lot of people focus on like, oh yeah, he's an imperialist wanter, like he just wants war and stuff. But the way he says this, knowing his history, it has like it sets off a certain revulsion in me that I haven't felt with the way anyone else has been talking about this. But just his smugness, the way he's talking about taking things that don't, like, oh, all of it. All of it. I can't be the only one that feels this with him.
And good for you. You know, Harold, Donald Trump was talking about the transition, and he's right. It's as disturbing as Rachel Levine's. Here you have, it's such a...
And then they have to immediately throw in a transphobic joke. But Doug Ford is just so insistent. Working together, Canada and the United States will be the richest, most successful, safest, and most secure countries on the planet. Let's go building Fortress AmCan, starting with integrated AmCan energy and electricity grid empowers unprecedented prosperity. But you see, the thing is that Doug Ford has already kind of conceded to Donald Trump. So Doug Ford has also tweeted this out. Ontario is launching Operation Deterrence. Our plan is to crack down on illegal cross-border activity and protect communities on both sides of the border. Operation Deterrence includes a team of 200 officers that will work alongside frontline and specialty officers focused on detecting, disrupting, and deterring illegal border activity using fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, drones, boats, off-road vehicles, and foot patrol. We're doing more to protect the safety and security of Canadian and American communities. So he's just capitulating to Donald Trump. Again, I'm one of the good ones. You shouldn't be going after me. Look at all the good things I'm doing. Plus, I'm a leopard. Yeah, I'm a leopard up here in Canada. You shouldn't eat my face. This is just a bit more from that Ontario launches Operation Deterrence to strengthen security along Ontario-US border. I was planning on reading this whole thing, but I am drastically running out of steam. I've been at this for 4.5 hours. That's about the amount of sleep I've had last night. And I've been up since 8 o'clock in the morning. So you can just read it on the screen if you want. Yes, I'm doing that cop out right now. Yep, you can read it on the screen. You can freeze it. You can read the quick facts. But basically, Doug Ford is still doing what Donald Trump wants, hoping that, if he just says the right things, the nice words, if he goes along, if he finds that middle ground with people that want to do him harm, if he just finds that middle ground that they can agree on, then they can go have a beer afterwards.